Going live. Okay, and we are live. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Plenty of things to get through on tonight's show. But first of all, how are we all doing? I can see Big T down in the comments saying, I'm saying yes to Rabiot. At this rate, he will be the only signing we get. It does kind of feel like that. Don't get me wrong, man. I completely understand where you're coming from on that one. But Rabiot does seem to be a deal that's kind of progressing. It's progressing quite quickly now. All week we've heard Juventus have offered Rabiot a new contract. That's what we've heard pretty much all week from Italian sources and as well as from English sources. Has come out, of course, today now that Manchester United are preparing to offer Rabiot a contract, and that we have in fact offered a contract for Adrein Rabiot. So I think this is a positive thing. I think that Rabiot, as you said, might be a no-brainer signing. It might be one of those players we bring in for free, maybe slightly unexpected, but if we're working with a tiny budget, if we're not going to spend a lot of money, maybe Adrein Rabiot could be a very smart signing. So first of all, this is coming from Scott Saunders and Graham Billy. So they're saying Manchester United have offered Adrein Rabiot a contract and he will make his decision in the coming days. He has a contract offer from Manchester United. He has a contract offer as well. He's a contract offer as well from Juventus. So I think all things considered, we're looking at a potential deal here. So let me see who's down there. Stephanie is in the comments. Good to see you as well. And Lucky Singh says, I hope no contracts from there. And Big T says, if you ignore the negativity and look at his attributes, he's actually a very decent player. I do agree with that. I think he is a very good I think overall he's a very good player, a very talented player, got a lot of things going for him, Adrein Rabiot. And I do think that he is a very, very interesting player who comes in and can do a lot of different things, can play in that sort of box-to-box midfield role. As well as that, we've seen this season for Juventus, a guy who went out and he played kind of on the left of a midfield three. So he is a versatile player. He does have his options and he does have a lot he can bring to this team. We can see the usual guys are back in the comments. Great to see you guys as always. Lucky Singh says no contract from Juventus. I hope not. And Ashid is down there as well. Good evening, Ashid. Good to see you, man. Thank you very much for joining in with us. Slightly later time at 10 to 8 as well tonight. So we're talking here Adrein Rabiot first and foremost. So Italian sources have said United have also made an offer to Adrein Rabiot in the last few hours, and he is considering the possibility of joining. So I think all things are pointing towards a potential signing here. All things are pointing towards Rabiot maybe being the guy that we end up going for. So is this a smart move? I think it could be. I think there are definitely drawbacks with the player. There are definitely things with the player that maybe are not ideal long term. Maybe his attitude can be questionable at times, but I think if anyone's going to get it out of him, I think it will be Erik Ten Hag. So I'm asking you guys in the comments tonight, we are saying, should Man United sign Adrein Rabiot? Let me know down below on the poll, and any more thoughts, get them into the comments. Big T saying, any updates on Kudus? He can play forward, midfield and on the wing, I believe. You're absolutely correct, man. There is an update on Mohamed Kudus, so he would cost around 45 million euros. He does seem to be favouring a move to Brighton and Hove Albion. They seem to be the most advanced for Kudus so far in this transfer window. But Manchester United, we are knocking at the door and we could be in for Mohamed Kudus. I think he would be a brilliant signing. Personally, I think Kudus brings so much to this team. As you said, he can play in midfield, he can play forward, and he can play on the wing. A very versatile player, and I know a lot of you guys definitely do like him. Stephanie is saying, what salary do you think Rabiot would be on if we sign him? I'm not too sure on this one. It might be a case that United need to outbid Juventus in terms of salary expectations. But I do think we have things going for us that might help sway his mind. I think one of those is going to be Champions League football. Juventus, I do not believe, finished in the Champions League places in Serie A last season. So United, we actually have that advantage. So this is coming, of course, from Fabrizio Romano. He has said Rabiot has held conversations with Manchester United in the last few months. Juventus have made him an offer. The player is dreaming of the Premier League, and right now it is up to the player. So I think this is kind of to be expected. I mean, it's always going to be up to the player when we're talking potential free agency, when we're talking potential deals that are going to be done for free. I think Rabiot has a choice now. He can either go for Manchester United or he can stay at Juventus. Personally, I would say that the option that he should be going for is Manchester United, because I think we do offer a lot more than what Juventus do at the minute. Juventus, an absolute mess of a club. All those point deductions, of course, fallouts with the manager. one of their worst seasons in the Serie A for a very long time, I think United will be a more attractive proposition for Rabiot. So I think if we're talking wage, just coming back to Stephanie's question, I think probably 150 maybe would be a fair estimation on the player based on what we also play other players as well as that. Lucky Singh is down saying, come there, come to our sub, and I want players to fight to play for us. Yes, absolutely. And speaking of fighting to play for Manchester United, we have, of course, Mason Mount. So we also have Daka down in the comments, and he must be signed for United. But what about the takeover? Of course, takeover, big one this week. I have said all week, expect news this week. So what happens tomorrow? Tomorrow we will have two things. We have United's financial results come out, and we have the kit launch of next season's home jerseys. So the financial results, I think, will really paint a picture. It will kind of show us what we can and cannot do in this transfer window. But if we want to talk takeovers, let's talk about protests, because there will be a protest tomorrow. So this is coming from Mike Keegan, and we have seen the 1958 Manchester United fans are planning a protest against the Glazers at the kit launch of Manchester United's new kit tomorrow. So there will be a protest tomorrow. So I'm sure if any of you guys are able to attend, you probably will. But I think that's good. I mean, it's good that we're keeping the pressure up. I think it will be important that we're hitting them where it hurts, and definitely hitting them on a kit launch day will be it will make headlines. It will get around there. It will be a good piece of PR, a good bit of media attention for the whole takeover stuff. Let me see as well. Big T says there seems to be a string of Ten Hag's old players that he can't seem to attract to United. Do you think the club situation puts players off? Kudus should be jumping at Champions League. Absolutely, man. I do agree with that. I think what has happened with Qatari, I think United have made it very, very clear. Mason Mount is the first choice target. I think we are now looking at other targets because there is the potential for that deal to go wrong. I think Erik Ten Hag would be able to bring in a Qatari or look for a Caicedo. But I do think what we have done is kind of put a lot of our hopes on signing Mason Mount. And I think that as that might not be happening now, as there is uncertainty regarding that deal, it might come to be that United ends up going for a Kudus, or we end up going for a Caicedo or somebody different. That is definitely potential. DL is down there saying, I would take Rabiot if we buy Caicedo or Barella. Also, even Mount a little bit after we offload the Deadwood. Thank you very much for that one, man. I think, yeah, look, I would be very, very disappointed if Mason Mount was the only if Rabiot was the only midfield signing, because that could mean we've looked around. There's a lot of very good midfielders, a lot of good players moving on this summer, and we've decided not to invest. We've decided to go for a free transfer. What I would call Rabiot is a very good addition to our squad. Somebody who will come in on a free agency, will not cost money up front. We can bring him in alongside somebody else. So if you're telling me that we can get Mount and Rabiot, I think that makes United a stronger team overall. Stephanie is down there saying, say no to new kit and Glazers out. Absolutely, thank you very much for that. And Jinwei says, why do we not go for unknown cheap players like Liverpool did to Southampton, but in the Eredivisie? Thank you very much for that one. I would love United to go after the kind of players that Liverpool have went after, or go after the very best young South American players the way Brighton have. But Manchester United, we seem to be incapable of doing things like that, unfortunately. We let a lot of very good young players walk away. We've pulled out of a lot of these big deals. I mean, we could have had Caicedo several years ago. We could have bought Julian Alvarez, we could have bought Enzo Fernandez, we could have had Erling Haaland himself, but we did not go in for those players at the time. United, we seem to have some sort of a strange obsession with letting players go to what I would call development clubs in Dortmund, in Ajax, in Benfica, and clubs like that. And then we go, okay, we'll buy you after a couple of good seasons where your value is going to be 2 to 3 times what it once was. Let me see as well. Big T says we have 13 players up for sale and no one has come in with solid interest for any of them. I think this is as worrying as no signing. So yes, this is actually something I want to go through with you guys, because last night it came out and it has come from, I believe, the Daily Mail and Chris Wheeler. So this is basically a list. Now, it is a photo, so I can't actually put it into the chat, but I'm sure you guys have seen it. So this is players Manchester United are happy to sell in this transfer window. This is who we want to sell, and this is how much Manchester United actually want for those players. So let's have a quick look at this, because I think it's interesting reading. So a lot of these are what I would call absolutely ridiculous prices. We have no opportunity whatsoever to sell these players at these prices. It will not happen. Make no mistake about it. So let me just pull this up for you guys. So in terms of this list, we are looking at let me just load this up. Of course, it's going to be slow for me when I'm trying to load it on stream, but I can see some of it here. Let me see. So we have Hannibal Mejbri, £13 million. Alex Telles, £10 million for Alex Telles. We're looking £2 million for Eric Bailly, looking £5 million for Brandon Williams. And then we have some of the most ridiculous prices I've seen in a very long time. £40 million we want for Harry Maguire. £40 million we want for Scott McTominay. We want £20 million for Donny van de Beek. I mean, it's no wonder, man, that we're not able to sell players when we're asking for 20 million for Donny van de Beek, who has played about 5 matches in the last 2 seasons. I mean, it is absolutely ludicrous, and it's the same for a lot of players. We're looking Dean Henderson, £20 million. That's not enough, in my opinion. We're looking, as well as that, at bringing in let me see who else we have on the list. We have Jadon Sancho for 45 million. Anthony Martial, 25 million. We have no chance to bring any of those players in for that sort of money. There's no chance anybody will play that much for a lot of those players. Let me see as well, the stuff is flying. Brian is saying at least the sale might be done by 2025. Yeah, man, absolutely. And Stephanie has made a very good point. There is talk of this Frankie de Jong rumours, sagas starting over again. I mean, I can't do it again. I really cannot do this again, because I remember every single day we had what do you call him, Jared Romero on Twitch, the Barcelona ITK guy, going, oh, things are happening, things are hot. I cannot take another Frankie de Jong saga this transfer window. I want to see United go after some proper players. I think last season was the time to get de Jong. Let's not go back to this. Let's get moving on. And looking at some better players, some younger players who might be really well suited to what we want to do. Jinwei says, is the new shirt out tomorrow? The new jersey is out tomorrow. Yes, indeed. It will be out, and there will be a protest at it. And DL says, Liverpool want Lavia. We need to wake up, man. Completely agree. We need to wake up. I think maybe we're finally starting to get somewhere in the transfer window. It's been a very slow, painful process, but we are maybe just about trying our very best to eventually get over the line with some of these deals. There's, even for Manchester United, a deal can only take so long. There's only so many things we can draw out and drag out. Eventually we have to sign somebody as well. Let me see. DL says Alanga 15. Yes, we want I believe £10 million, according to that Daily Mail, for Elanga. DL says, I hope Saudi buys 3 to 4 Deadwoods. And Stephanie says, Murda must be speaking to Bowley's team with those prices. I mean, maybe he is. I mean, like, at Manchester United's valuation, if they offered McTominay and offered Maguire, that could be the fair price for Declan Rice. I mean, that's just not realistic whatsoever. I mean, we're looking £40 million for Maguire, a 30-year-old England international, yes, but I mean, we're talking a guy here who every Premier League team has seen has massive weaknesses in his game. How slow he is, how poor he is in terms of actually turning around and running back at his own goal. So he is very limited. There are very, very few teams who do not play highline football these days, and I do think that Harry Maguire might be difficult for Manchester United to sell on. So let me see as well. Let's talk about another player coming in. Let's talk about Mason Mount, because we have a promising update coming in from Scott Saunders and from Graham Bailey. So they have said Chelsea have dropped the asking price from 65 million to 60 million pounds. Manchester United's last offer, that was 55. We are very, very close on finding some sort of middle ground on Mason Mount coming to Manchester United. Now, do I think this is a positive thing? I think this is, because I would still like to see us buy Mason Mount, because I think Erik Ten Hag clearly wants the player wants to come. So I think all things might be set up for him to come in and make a bit of a difference at Manchester United. Big T's down there as well. Glazers out has failed to work for 18 years. I do not see any protests having an effect. It's almost like protests encourage the Glazers to stay. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's very true. Like, what you're saying is absolutely correct. I mean, the Glazers live in a mansion in Miami, Florida. They do not care that there are 1,000 people plus in Manchester standing outside of Old Trafford in the rain with the flares going chanting about them. That's the truth. I mean, it's unfortunate. I wish it wasn't the case. I mean, if they had thinner skin, they would have been gone a long time ago. But these guys, they do not care about public opinion. They do not care about that sort of stuff. What they do care about is the cold hard money at the end of the day. That is what they want to see, and that is what they demand from Manchester United. Now, at the end of the day, I think, yes, you can say protests have had very little effect. I think it does bring some amount of publicity and stuff to it as well. I think it's pretty much all the fans can do at this point, because we have no real active role in terms of these negotiations or trying to sell the club or buy the club. But I do think that what we can do with the Glazers is just keep the pressure up. I think United and the 58 have done pretty well looking after and going after a lot of those Glazer sponsors, United sponsors and stuff. I think that has maybe had more of an effect, but still probably not very limited as well. But I do think that hopefully we're getting towards the end of the Glazers' time at Manchester United. I did a video today. I went on a bit of a rant. I'm sure some of you guys have seen it as well. Basically, a lot of what is going on at Manchester United and what has been going wrong for a very long time can be attributed to the Glazers, to the board, to the guys running the show. Let me see as well. Big T says we could give them 55 million, add 5 million with the sell-on clause. We absolutely could do something like that. And DL says it's only 4 days left of David De Gea's contract. What is going to happen? I think that's a big question for the week. I think when we see Manchester United scouts, I think it was Tony Cotton had an interview the other day on Sky Sports. He basically got stopped in the street, and he had kind of hinted that Manchester United do not know what's going to happen with the De Gea contract. One thing we do know, however, is that United definitely want to bring in a goalkeeper. So let's talk goalkeepers. Let's talk Adrein Onana. So we're talking here, this is coming from Italian sources. So always with Italian sources, maybe Portuguese as well, Spanish sources, I do tend to take a pinch of salt as well. So I will always say that and make a bit of a disclaimer about it. But according to Gazzetta dello Sport and Sport Media as well in Italy, Adrein Onana is very close to joining Manchester United. And I think this really hints at what happens with David De Gea. I think if we spend big money on a goalkeeper, that means De Gea will leave. No doubt about it. That is the most realistic thing. I think if De Gea stays, we will not buy a goalkeeper and we will have to bring in a second choice, something like that. So let's talk from Gazzetta as well. They've said United talks with Inter Milan are entering the final rush for Adrein Onana, and these are hot days for the transfer. I mean, it's always European sources come out with stuff like that. It's always those guys trying to say this sort of stuff. But I do think there is something in this. I do think United might be coming up pretty close to putting in the official bid this time for Adrein Onana. I think that's a potential move that United will make. Let me see as well who else is down there. Jinwei is saying at least never lease the players we give the right wages to, and we treat people well. We're not like Spurs, give them a wage of a youth player on a contract. Yeah, absolutely, I do agree with that. Let me see as well. Lucky Singh says protest get hurts the club pocket. Yep, it can do as well. That's a good point. And Ashid said Tottenham are in for Harry Maguire. I would absolutely love Harry Maguire to go to Tottenham. That would be brilliant. I think it solves a problem for Manchester United, because I think what the big hold-up with Maguire is that he does not want to leave Manchester United to go play for a West Ham. He doesn't want to go and play for an Everton. I think he expects some sort of move worthy of an England international, of a Manchester United captain. The truth is, he isn't at that level, and he isn't there for a reason, but I think that's in his head what he's looking to do. So I do completely agree with this. I think that Manchester United, if we can sell him to Tottenham, I think that's a good move, because he's going to go there. He'll do okay. He will probably leave to join Tottenham Hotspur. Irfan is down there saying Mohamed Kudus transfer news. Of course, Manchester United have been linked to Kudus. Of course, man. The big talk at the moment is it's going to take 45 million. Now, whether United go in for it or not, I don't know. I was actually thinking it could be a decent option if we offered up Donny van de Beek going the other way. I think that gets rid of Donny van de Beek from United. It brings in a player who will come in and really improve our team. And as well as that, it also means that Van de Beek gets a good move back to Ajax, a move he probably will take. So I think all things do point towards that. Could be a smart That could be a smart decision to go for. Stephanie is saying as well, Maguire's to Spurs and Kane the other way. Let's hope something like that can be done. Hopefully no more moves for the likes of Frankie de Jong. Hopefully nothing like that. I'm just checking here as well to see if there is anything in regards to let me see. Harry Maguire going. Big T is saying, for every fan that does not buy a shirt and does not attend a game, there is 5 that do. That is true as well. And I think what we have to consider is that the majority of the shirt sale, it actually goes to Adidas. It wouldn't really go to Manchester United. Now, United, we get our money out of it, yes, because Adidas are tied to a sponsorship deal. But a lot of that is dependent on the likes of Champions League qualifications, perhaps not as tied up with overall shirt sales and stuff like that. It's not like it was in the past. Lucky Singh as well is saying McTominay, Alex Telles, Eric Bailly, Elanga, these players need to go to Everton, Villa or West Ham. All players have to leave Manchester United. Thank you very much for that one. So let's get talking here. Let's get talking about players leaving Manchester United. So we're starting off with Dean Henderson. So Dean Henderson has been lined up for a permanent move to Nottingham Forest, worth £15 million up front plus add-ons. So I think that could probably get United what they want. If we get £15 million plus 5 million in add-ons, that's the £20 million that we want to sell Dean Henderson. So I think that is a good move, because Henderson, I think, has burned a lot of bridges. I do not think he will be back at Manchester United. I personally cannot see it happening. So I think that's a smart move. I think selling on Dean Henderson, probably the right decision, all things considered. Well, Leah's down there as well. How much did the Glazers give out to make this transfer window? Not very much, man, of course. Big T says there are reports of Saudi interest in Eric Bailly. Let's hope so, because I think Bailly will be a player we struggle to move on. I think when people look at his injury record, and it will be the exact same for Anthony Martial, they will look and say, why would we pay big money for this guy? Why would we buy this guy, pay him big wages, and we know he will be injured for over 50% of the season? He will play 20 matches if we are lucky. They do have to ask themselves that. I mean, it's very easy to say we need to sell Maguire, McTominay, Martial, Van de Beek, Eric Bailly, but I also think we need to find buyers. We have to find people who will actually want these players. It isn't enough just to simply want them to go, because otherwise we're going to do what United have done for a very long time, and that is, of course, either let players go for far less than what they're worth, or let them walk away for free entirely, something we have done as well. So what United seriously need to do is move on the right players, move on, find out clubs who will want to buy them and hopefully sell them. I think Henderson going to Nottingham Forest, that is a move that makes a lot of sense. He was on loan there last season. They've lost Keylor Navas, who's gone back to PSG on loan. Nottingham Forest need a goalkeeper. Dean Henderson wants to leave United, and United want to sell Dean Henderson. So I think all things point towards that being a done deal. And whether that's the only big selling of the summer, let's find out. Stephanie as well is saying Hendo has to go and we will drive him to Forest ourselves. And Manuel is saying, how much is the Man United summer budget? I believe we're looking in and around the region of 120 to 150 million pounds total. Of course, that can be added to with sealed, but that does seem to be the common consensus. Daniel is saying Eriksen out and Zidane Iqbal stay. I'm sorry, man, but Zidane Iqbal has just signed for FC Utrecht. So that is actually the next player we were looking to talk about, because this deal just keeps getting worse and worse as far as Manchester United are concerned. It just keeps getting more and more poor, and it's a really bad reflection of Manchester United. So Zidane Iqbal has joined FC Utrecht for around £850,000 per week. The deal includes a 40% sell-on clause and a buyback clause as well. However, that sounds good on paper. Manchester United, a lot of the money that has actually been paid for Zidane Iqbal is going to be paid in installments, in add-ons and stuff. That is what Chris Wheeler is saying from the Daily Mail. So what are United doing? We are selling very talented young players who could have had something of an impact either on the team or if they went on loan. We are selling them for next to nothing, looking to put in buyback clauses and stuff. If we're going to get rid of a player for that little money, you probably should have just loaned them out. That's what you probably should have just done. Now, hopefully, if there is a buyback clause, it's very small. Knowing United, it'll probably be like £15 million, because that's what we do. Big T says 120 plus whatever we generate in sales was the last I read. And Ashid as well says condolences go to Craig Brown's family, who passed away earlier today. I believe Craig Brown was a colleague of Sir Alex Ferguson, I believe. Scottish as well, probably played together as well at youth levels and stuff. So, of course, condolences to the family, absolutely. So, thank you very much for that one, man. Let me see as well. So, if anybody has not voted on the poll, I'm asking you guys tonight, and that is, should Man United sign Adrein Rabiot? We are asking you guys that. So, it's a simple yes or no tonight. And let me know what you guys think as well. Rabiot definitely looks like a player United could be going for. Now, all the talk coming in is United have offered a contract to Rabiot. There was big expectation of him staying, of course, at Juventus. They have offered him a contract. Rabiot is delaying his decision because Manchester United have offered him a deal. Now, this, according to Romano, is according to many sources as well in Italy. So it does look to be something that we can say has happened. Let me see, was there another comment came in there? No, I don't think so. So Rabiot, of course, the big one, as well as that. Mason Mount is another player heavily linked to United. And let's talk about him. So, according to Jason Burt off the Telegraph, United's offer for Mason Mount remains on the table. The club feel there is no need to enter face-to-face negotiations with Chelsea. Looks like we're actually going to put our foot down and actually act like a big club. This is what other teams around us would do. I'm glad that United are finally having a bit of backbone in the transfer market. It is good to see. A very, very long time coming, this. But we are finally doing bits that we need to be doing. So whether we go out and buy Mount now, I don't know. According to Bert as well, in the same article, Chelsea's asking price has dropped from 65 million to 60 million. So it does look like there's a very small discrepancy between the club. I think it will happen at the end of the day. Lucky Singh as well saying, Rabiot, please look at England move. He will up the quality. Yeah, I think he will. I think, like, put it this way, Rabiot comes in. Is Rabiot better than Fred and McTominay? Yes, absolutely. So he instantly improves the squad. And this is something I have been saying for a while. Manchester United, we do not just need first team signings. We need players to come into the squad and improve the levels there, because you need a big squad to compete. You need at least 15, 16 players you can rely on and not have any drop in performance. Then from there, you look at other guys who will come in as rotational options, do their job, be professional, probably the likes of McTominay and Fred in that sort of bracket. And then you look at a squad as well, having some young players in it, probably the likes of Garnacho, probably the likes of Pellistri, maybe an Ahmad, maybe a Kobe Minu, someone like that could be the right sort of squad balance that Erik Ten Hag does look for. And Big T is down there saying, "Oh, tell Chelsea 1 million less every day unless they don't accept the offer. No one else is in for him. They need to sell." Absolutely, they do need to sell, and I think that Mount is pushing as hard as he can. He has said to Chelsea he will not sign any sort of new contract, so I do fully expect Mason Mount will either leave this summer, join Manchester United, or leave for free next summer. That does look to be most likely. Irfan is saying Caicedo and Kudus would be the best for United. I think they would be brilliant for Manchester United. Honestly, I think if we had probably a midfield three of Bruno, Casemiro, and Caicedo, that is brilliant. And then we fit in Kudus as well, because Kudus can play off the left. He can probably play off the right. I know he's played as attacking midfield as well, so a very versatile player. Lucky Singh as well saying, there's nothing to prove over there. There's no point. Sky Italy, nothing to prove there. I'm not sure. Maybe that's in relation to Rabiot. Let me double check. But let's talk other players potentially leaving. Let's talk about Harry Maguire. So this is coming from Chris Wheeler. Harry Maguire will be allowed to leave if an offer of £40 million comes in. I mean, we're just shooting ourselves in the foot at this stage. I mean, that's like me saying someone can buy my car. I want to sell my car, right? I need a new car. I need a better car. But somebody can only buy my car if they offer £10,000 for it. I mean, that's the equivalent that we have here. We genuinely have United saying we want £40 million for Harry Maguire, a guy who cannot get into our team, a man who is so unsuited to playing in any sort of a high line in football. And we're looking £40 million for him. I think we seriously need to wake ourselves up. We shouldn't be in this position. We shouldn't have to sell Harry Maguire, because we probably should never have bought Harry Maguire, and especially not at the prices. But who's going to pay £40 million for a 30-year-old centre-back who's on £250,000 per week, who cannot get into Manchester United's team above Raphael Varane, who is constantly going to pick up injuries? I mean, we've even played Luke Shaw at centre back over Maguire this season. So why on earth would we want to sell Harry Maguire for £40 million? Who is going to pay that sort of money? I do wonder. If you guys have any idea, maybe the Saudi Arabians want to buy Harry Maguire. Maybe he can go and link up with Ronaldo at Al Nassr. Maybe that could be a fun reunion for Ronaldo. Maybe that's the only person who's going to pay £40 million for Harry Maguire. I don't know. I don't know. Like, honestly, it is so frustrating that we're still in this situation. We wonder why we cannot sell players. It's because we do this. We do have an update coming in from Ben Jacobs, and this might disappoint some of you guys as well. So he is saying Mason Mount to Manchester United is likely to get done. Manchester United are not serious about signing Moses Caicedo. So that's my thoughts on that one. Big T is saying, do you think Ajax could win the Premier League? All the links to Ajax players leaves me wondering if Ten Hag his only knowledge is that of the Dutch. I don't know, man. I mean, I think he knows a lot of players. I think if we're gonna go sign Rabiot, gonna sign Onana, of course he was at Ajax, I guess. Who else are we in for? Probably Hoyland, maybe we're in for Mason Mount as well. I mean, I don't think everyone necessarily is going to be Dutch. I think what Erik Ten Hag kind of did last season was he played his cards very safe. Erik Ten Hag came into a team in turmoil. He went into a club that he needed people he could trust. So he went for players that he knew he could trust. Either he had worked with them personally before, or he had good recommendations of him. Of course, Casemiro is the only real example who was never really in the Dutch league and is not Dutch, of course. So, but we already know all about Casemiro. Ashid says he ain't got nothing to prove. Lucky says Ajax links are there. And Rajat, good to see you, man, says hello. Thank you very much for joining in, Rajat. Do appreciate you hopping on here with the rest of the guys. I think, yeah, I mean, I think what Erik Ten Hag kind of has had to do is walk into a team with very little structure. He's a guy who is used to having directors of football, top analysts, top scouting stuff. So I think he has kind of had a bit of a culture shock walking into Manchester United, probably in the sense that there is not that structure. I mean, he is working with Richard Arnold and John Murda and Darren Fletcher before he was working with the likes of Van der Sar and Overmars before he got sacked at Ajax. I think that's a big thing. I think the lack of structure, the lack of support around him kind of has made Erik Ten Hag go, okay, I need players. Let's get people I at least know and I can trust, I guess. That's probably what he has gone for. But I do think there's only so much talent in the Dutch league. And I think we do have to start looking further abroad. Absolutely. Let me see as well. Irfan is saying, what about Axel Diazi or Kevin Danso at centre back? And Rashad says De Jong is another Ajax. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But I think De Jong's different because I think pretty much everybody can tell that he is that good. I think we would know that Frankie De Jong wouldn't really be fazed by coming to to Manchester United in the Premier League. That's my personal opinion on that one, of course. Let me see as well. Looks like Kai Havertz has completed a move to Arsenal. I mean, I do not get that signing at all. If you guys think that Kai Havertz will be a good signing for Arsenal, let me know down below, because I have never seen anything from Kai Havertz that's made me think what a player or that he's worth anything like that. We do have an update coming in here from ESPN, and they're saying Manchester United are considering moves for Ajax's Mohamed Kudus and Utrecht's Taylor Booth after failing to make progress in a deal for Mason Mount. I think that's probably a negotiation tactic. No doubt in my mind that the interest is real. I do think we are looking at other targets. We will be looking at Kudus. We will be looking at Taylor Booth. Now, whether we actually go out and sign some of them players, I don't know. I don't know if that will happen, but I do think that United have to look at alternatives because we might have to go down that route. We might have to sign alternative players. Let me see as well. Lucky Singh is saying Havertz is a strange one to Arsenal, and Rajat says De Jong is one of the best midfielders of his type. Absolutely. I think definitely not sort of deep line progressive ball carrying role. He is absolutely fantastic. I would love him at United. Honestly, I would have loved him last season. I do think he is exactly what we need. Now, whether we get him or not, I sincerely doubt it. He looks like he wants to be at Barcelona for a very long time. So, and I mean, after everything that happened to Frankie de Jong last season, I mean, I don't know why he would still want to be at Barcelona. They practically bought him a plane ticket and had him at the airport. So obviously it's confusing. I mean, maybe he's just so happy to be there or something. I don't know. It is a weird one. Big T says, who is Taylor Booth and who does he play for? So Taylor Booth, I believe, was a young player at Ajax. He has now went to FC Utrecht. He is an American international. He does seem to be an okay player. I haven't really seen too much of him. I know a lot more about Kudus, of course, but I do think that Taylor Booth, I don't know. I mean, maybe he's a player worth looking into. Maybe he could be an underrated signing in the market. Maybe someone we get for cheap. I don't know. I do think it's a weird one. As the sheet says, I think Taylor Booth really has come out of nowhere. Do you have a question for you guys, though? Because let's get talking about this Manchester United sell list. Because the big article that Chris Wheeler put out last night, do you know what that means? I think we are looking to sell a lot of players. But one of those players listed was Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho can be bought from Manchester United for £45 million. So what I want to ask you guys is, if Man United got a bid from Tottenham Hotspur, from Newcastle, from some other team, for £45 million for Jadon Sancho, would you take it? That's what I'm asking you guys. Let me know as well. You can see Big T's down there saying, everyone smash a like for the manager. Thank you, man. And of course, the members only emojis as well that Big T has as well. If anybody wants to join Big T and also become a member and support the channel in that web, if you do want to do so, I'm going to put the link just in the chat as well for anybody interested. It is there. Obviously, not going to force anyone to do it. Like, it is your own decision, absolutely. Let me see. Irfan says, you to know, no done deal now. Yep, not yet at all, man. Rajad is saying as well, give Maguire away, absolutely. Barcelona need to sell and open the door for De Jong. And Rajad says, any more updates for goalkeeper? Yes, man, I actually did go through the goalkeeping updates. Let me just check this here one for you. We had this, I think it was actually a couple of minutes before you came on. So this is coming from Italian sources. So they're saying Adrein Onana is one step away from joining Manchester United, who are set to make an offer for €50 million. That is coming from Sports Media, and as well Gazzetta dello Sport have also put out an article, and they've said Manchester United set to make a €50 million bid upfront this week. So I think if United bid for Onana, that's it. David De Gea has left the club. I don't even think we have to sign him. But I do think, let me see as well. Who else have we got down here? Let me put those in for you, Rajat, man. If I check that out, we can check it out there. There we go. A shade as well. Saying yes, we'll take it. Irfan says Sancho 60 or 70, absolutely. And Rajat says few YouTubers force you to join, absolutely, man. Like, I do get, like, obviously people want more members and stuff. I'm pretty chill about it. I'm pretty sure Big T's the only member actually on the channel as well. Like, so I'm not exactly pushing the memberships. It's just there if anybody wants it. You get some emojis, and if we get enough guys doing it, we'll do some exclusives, videos and live streams if you guys would be interested in that. But I mean, it is there if you want it, but obviously it's absolutely no worries at all as well. Like, I mean, your guys' support is absolutely incredible. I genuinely couldn't ask for any more from you guys. You are all absolutely amazing. Rajat says Jadon won't sell for under 55. I think that's not enough money as well. I think 45 probably not enough to buy Jadon Sancho. I would look for 50 to 60 million. That's what I think, because he is a talented player. We have seen it many times for United. Problem is, it comes in glimpses, it comes in flashes, it's never consistent, it's never sustained over a long period of time. What we do get from Jadon Sancho is some good moments. What I want to see from Jadon Sancho is good long performances. Yep, let me see who else have we got. Lucky Singh says McTominay, Alex Telles, Roma stamp Maguire. I mean, if Roma want to buy Maguire, they can go for it, absolutely. Irfan says Ibrahim Sangare. I would love Ibrahim Sangare at United at one stage. I think he would probably come in. I would question where we would play. I don't think he comes in and starts over Casemiro. Whether he comes in as a backup option, I don't know. St. Don Bosco's down there as well, saying the Glazers are not selling if there's an offer on the table for Mount. I don't know. I think the transfer budget is a separate thing as well. Big T says, yeah, I'm a limited edition follower. Yeah, of course. I do really appreciate you, Big T, man. Thank you very much, of course, for joining as a member. The one and only Big T, of course. Let me see as well who else. Husky's down there. Good to see you, man. Rajat is saying, is it true Anthony is another could be sold? I don't think we're selling Anthony anytime soon. I think if Sancho's getting 3 seasons, I think Anthony will definitely get 3 seasons as well. I think we spent a lot of money, invested a lot in him. Erik Ten Hag really wanted him. I do think Anthony will be staying. Let me see as well who else is down there. Irfan is saying, like for box to box to play like Caicedo, Barella, Ibrahim Sangare. I think out of all those players, maybe Nicolo Barella is the most affordable. Newcastle were close to completing a deal for around £60 million. I think, whilst he's not as good as Caicedo, I think at that price, he could be a good signing, a very experienced player as well. Guaza is saying we shouldn't let Sancho go this window. I do agree with that. I think what I would like to see from Sancho is one last season. I would like to see him go out next season, really, really try hard for Manchester United. Be fit, be available, be ready, and be there to play. And when you play, make a difference. Now, it's far, far too often with Jadon Sancho, what we have got is Sancho gets the ball in good areas and he doesn't do anything with it. He either cuts back and passes backwards, he takes too long to make his mind up. I want to see some decisiveness. I want to see Jadon Sancho be ruthless because I know he has the talent. I know he can do it. I just want to see it more often. That's all I want to see. Rajat says, would love to get Barella and everybody get a like up as well. Yes, guys, if you do want to hit the like button on the stream, would really help us out as well. Always appreciated. Let me see as well. Satwant is down there. Tomorrow is a big project. Yes, tomorrow will be an interesting day. First and foremost, we have Manchester United's kit launch. That will be in the morning. As well as that, around about noon, I think, we will also be seeing Manchester United's financial results for the last 3 months. So I think that will be a good indicator on what we can spend in terms of transfers this summer. So I think that's going to be very interesting to see. If it is bad, then we actually do have no money to spend. If it's really good, then we're kind of using it as a negotiation tactic. We look at the profits and stuff. Rizal as well says, don't let Facundo leave unless it is a loan. Absolutely, I wouldn't sell Pellistri. I think he does offer something very different to what other Manchester United players do. He has that ability to go around a man and just dribble with it and put good crosses in. A right-footed right winger is something in a very, very short supply these days. So I do think absolutely Facundo Pellistri could be a really interesting player to keep an eye on. I would like United to go and get him what I would call a proper loan. That's what I would like to see, a proper loan spell where he goes out and goes to a team who will play him, where he can develop, something like what we got for Ahmad last season. Ahmad went away. Now, before last season, he was being talked about as, is this guy good enough? Now, all of a sudden, we're demanding that he plays. I think Pellistri has the same level of talent, and I think he could go and do a very good job. I think he has went to before, going to Deportivo, I don't think has worked out for him. I would like to see maybe an Eredivisie loan, maybe a championship loan. Something like that for Pellistri would be a very good move for his overall development. Rajat says, Newcastle went for Tonali, though Barella would be good, absolutely. And Irfan as well saying he is better than Anthony. And Rajat says, does Sancho not have the pace for England to do well at Manchester United? I think what Jadon Sancho is, I would almost describe Jadon Sancho as like a continental type player, if that makes sense. I mean, as a European style player, I think he's done better in the Champions Leagues, done better in Europa Leagues than he has done in the Premier League for the most part. I think he does lack that pace to really go out around people and beat them for speed. I think that's what Garnacho has that Jadon Sancho does not. I do think, however, that what we do get from Sancho is something very different. If we're holding a lot of possession, his movement, his short passing, his dribbling is very good. Now, whether Sancho stays at Manchester United long term and he ultimately goes into that number 10 position, maybe that could be where he plays the majority of his career at Manchester United. I don't know, but I do think he lacks the pace to really go around people. Rajad as well says, would take Rabiot, he is quite bulky. Yeah, I mean, I would absolutely take Rabiot, and if any of you guys do think United should take Rabiot, get voting on the poll. I'm asking you guys tonight, should Manchester United sign Rabiot? It's a simple yes or a no. And Irfan says, Ahmad and Garnacho. Oh, and Zagablo is down there saying status of the takeover. Let me give you a quick update, man. So over the weekend, Reuters doubled down on their report that Qatar are basically feeling like they're in the lead. They have the confidence in this. Now, as well as that, we're talking from the Daily Express. Pretty reliable, I guess, when it comes to financial sort of stuff. They were saying that Sheikh Jassim has a couple of plans for Manchester United. He wants to get rid of John Murdoch. He wants to get rid of Darren Fletcher and Richard Arnold. So that is CEO, that is director of football and technical director, all gone. He wants to bring in his own people who he trusts to run Manchester United, people he thinks will make a big difference at the club. I think, yeah, absolutely, we do need to see more of an update. But I think over the next couple of days, do expect to see that update. I think a very interesting day, now mark it in your calendars, will be Wednesday. Because on Wednesday, it is Manchester United's AGM. There is an opportunity for shareholders to ask questions to the board of directors regarding the sale. And they have to be honest with the shareholders. They cannot lie to the shareholders. They have to tell them the truth. So I think one way or another, Wednesday will be a big day. We will see as well tomorrow a Glazers out protest at Old Trafford. Whether it's effective or not, I don't know. And as well as that, we see, of course, the financial results for the third quarter come out tomorrow. So I think tomorrow, Wednesday, we will start to find out pieces of information. I would expect maybe some better news by the end of the week. The man is down there as well. Good to see you back in the chat. Big T says Sancho misses Haaland and Bellingham. I'm sure he does, man. I think he did very well at Dortmund. There was a lot of space in the Bundesliga. He had overlapping fullbacks in Hakimi. We got very close to him. He had Haaland to set up. He had Bellingham as well in that midfield. So I do think that he probably had a better all-round structure at Borussia Dortmund than what he does at Manchester United. He kind of came in with the expectation that this is a guy who's going to play on the wing and he's going to beat people for pace. I don't know. Let me see as well who's down there. Rajat says, and we have a new left back. Harry Amaz, not sure to be happy. Yeah, I think he's a 16-year-old. He will be signed for the academy. So maybe someone to look out for in future. Maybe someone who can be a good player in 5 or 6 years for Manchester United. Not short term anyway. Let's see. Lucky Singh is saying tax-free cash is hand now. Rajad as well. It's down there. And Le Man, Joel cares less on money. Don't know when. I mean, yeah, the Glazers, it is just money with those guys. You are absolutely correct. Any more thoughts, guys? Get them in down below onto the comments. Let me double check here as well. Let me see what we have in terms of any sort of news for you guys. So Fabrizio Romano has says Manchester United's board are convinced Rasmus Højlund will be a special player and they are still interested in making a move. I think that's good news because we have seen very little news, actually, very little updates in terms of actual transfers coming in for the striking position. We've been linked to Kane, we've been linked to Osman, we have been linked to Ramos, Vlahovic, who else have we been linked to? Ollie Watkins, Højlund. I want to see us actually go after some players. I want to see us start to make this move towards signing that striking target. Now, whether it's Højlund, whether it's Ramos, I don't know, but I want to see us go after someone, start to make that progress. That's what we need to see from Manchester United in the upcoming weeks. Let me see as well, Razat saying, hey, Chelsea don't want to pay £80 million for Caicedo. Yes, I did say that as well. And interestingly enough, whilst United are definitely hesitant to pay that much for Moses Caicedo, what they have said as well is that they view it as a completely different deal regarding his quality, his age, and his contract length. So maybe this is something that we will be going for. And this has actually come in just now from The Athletic. So I have just literally checked my news page here. So Manchester United have held talks with Moses Caicedo's representatives about a potential move to Old Trafford. This is coming from The Athletic. Very reliable source. So it does look like maybe there is something in Moses Caicedo. Whether this is United trying to put groundwork in case the Mount deal doesn't come off, whether this is United saying, let's put some pressure on Chelsea, so if we want to take their number one target, maybe then they will be forced to sell. I don't know. Let's hope. I would love to see Caicedo at Manchester United. Rajad is down there. United sum up, a lot more talking and a lot less doing. Yeah, absolutely, man. It's all talk, no game with those guys. Mewan is down there. Now that Barcelona will sign De Jong, I can see Erik Ten Hag will prefer De Jong over Mount. Potentially, I mean, if we're going to offer 55-60 million for Mason Mount, maybe Erik Ten Hag will be swayed once again by Frankie de Jong. I hope not, because we've seen this last season. We've done this already, an entire transfer window going after Frankie de Jong. Justin never sign him. I really do hope that Manchester United just say, let's just leave this guy where he is, because he clearly did not want to come last season. I don't think he'll want to come this season. Let's not do this again. Barcelona will sell, we know this, but I'm praying that United will just say, yeah, that's enough. Let's see as well. Lucky Singh says, if I have 6 billion in hand, I think we're talking takeover down there. I don't know, man. I really hope that we don't go after Frankie de Jong. That's my big hope. But if you guys want to see de Jong at United, let me know in the comments down below. And as well as that, there was some other things as well I wanted to work through. Let me see. Whereabouts were we? So yeah, we're talking Adrein Rabiot. We have an update from Sky Sports Seth as well. So Manchester United have always retained an interest in Rabiot, and Champions League football at Old Trafford is a huge pull for the player. Manchester United, all of a sudden, we're going after Juventus players with Champions League as a big pull. Whether or not we even get Champions League next season, that will be interesting. But I do think Rabiot could be an interesting signing. But I'm asking you guys as well, asking you guys on the poll, should Manchester United sign Rabiot? It's a yes or it's a no. Let me know down below on that poll as well. Rajad is down there. De Jong will come to Manchester for lots of money and that's it. I don't know. I mean, I hope not, man, because we've been here last season. I don't want to be sitting here all summer saying Jared Romero has tweeted things are getting hot or things are happening or that he's dancing on his Twitch stream. I don't want that, man. I just want to see United bring in some smart signings. Rajat says Adrein Rabiot, yes, begging. I think Rabiot's a smart signing on a free contract. I think that is a good move for Manchester United. Brings in 2 midfielders for the price of 1, and that might be the difference in us winning some matches, being able to rest the likes of Eriksen or Mount or Casemiro. Let's see what happens. Let's hope Manchester United can get 2 deals done in midfield. Then we can look on, try to bring in a striker and a goalkeeper. That's what I think that's what I think the summer is going to be. Personally, if I had to guess on it right now, I would say Andre Onana, Adrein Rabiot, Rasmus Højlund, and Mason Mount. That could be my prediction if we're going for that. Moana is saying Rabiot will be a huge update for this team. Absolutely. And Lucky says I would take him. Absolutely, man. I do think he would be a very big upgrade for Manchester United's team. And I think that if he did come in on a free, that could be a very smart signing. I mean, we brought in Eriksen for a free as well last season, and Eriksen made a big difference last year. So Rabiot could do the same again this year. And I think we should have been looking at other free agent targets. We should have been looking at the likes of Marcus Thuram, for instance. I think that could have been another smart signing. Stephen is down there as well. Rabiot and Mount will be okay. And Lucky as well saying we just need smart guys in as well. And Rajat says advancing the cup competition is good for the bench. Big T saying your prediction will do for now and then some business in January. That's what I think it's going to be, man. It is only my prediction. I would love to predict that United are going to sign Harry Kane and Diogo Costa and Kim Min-jae and Moses Caicedo and Mason Mount and Mbappe. But unfortunately, we do not live in the dream world. I think we have to be realistic. I think this was maybe always going to happen. I think the Glazer budget was always going to hold us back. Whether or not that changes, I think January is a big opportunity. I think new owner coming in, if there is a new ownership, if it's Qatar, if it's Radcliffe, they will want a statement signing. Make no mistake about it. Whether they go for that or not in January remains to be seen. What we could end up seeing is United going after some smart deals in January, going after players who maybe we need to bring in. Mawan says, any update on the takeover? Let me say as well, man. Regarding the takeover, so we have some small snippets of information for you guys. So in terms of actual progress, very little. Reuters have said that Qatar feel confident that they are in the lead, so that it's coming from Reuters. In terms of what Daily Express have said, they have also been saying as well that Manchester United, if Sheikh Jassim takes over, he would want to get rid of the CEO, Richard Arnold, Director of Football, John Murda, and Technical Director, Darren Fletcher. He would want to bring his own people in and be in charge of that sort of stuff. And he would also like to really renovate Old Trafford as well. That is all on hold at the moment. So that's pretty much. Rajat is saying, could we wait for January to sign Onana? You'll be annoyed. Avram and Joel like to get a big name in. And Irfan says, next year, world-class player. I don't know, man. I would love to see Onana. I think Onana will be signed. Make no mistake about it. If David De Gea goes, he will be bought. That is truth, because we will need a goalkeeper regardless. Well, if De Gea stays, I think you have a different question altogether. Then you're saying, do we go for another goalkeeper on top of that? Do we go for David De Gea being the number 2? What do we do? Because it's a lot of money, £200,000 per week to spend for a guy to be sitting on the bench every week. Stephen is down there as well saying swap Donny plus cash for Barella. That could be a smart move. I think a potential move, if we want to go down that way, talking swap deals with Donny van de Beek, would be swapping Donny van de Beek plus cash for Mohamed Kudus. I think that could be a smart signing and a smart deal to make. We would definitely get Donny van de Beek to go back to Ajax. He lived there practically his whole life, so I do think he will go back there. Rajat as well saying, how about El Nasseri? He could be an okay option, I guess, if we want that sort of experienced striker, if that's what we are looking for. I think bringing in more than one striker makes a lot of sense. I think bringing in Thuram on a free would have been the smart idea, and then bringing in maybe someone like a Højlund, someone younger as well. That could have been the smart signing, the smart way to go about it. Whether United actually be smart, that is a big question. Let me see. Rajat says Fred out and get Palhinha. I don't think we'll get Palhinha. I think he's very good and very well suited to what Fulham do, but I don't think he will come to Manchester United. He's a good player, make no mistake about it, but Fulham are asking for £90 million. because they think he is as good as Declan Rice. And Irfan says Man United would buy world-class players. I mean, I hope so. I really hope that we do. I would like to see it probably next season. I think that's maybe what we go for. Maybe bring in smart signings this season, bring in some good signings and some world-class signings next year. Maybe that's what we go for. I would love to bring in world-class signings next week as well, guys. Any more thoughts, guys? Get them in down below. Let me know your thoughts on tonight's stream as well, on Rabiot signing, on Mason Mount potentially coming to Manchester United as well. A lot depends on Chelsea, what they do with United's last offer. It is on the table. Whether they accept it or not remains to be seen. But one thing is for certain, they have come down on their price, coming from 65 million to 60 million pounds. So I do think there's a deal to be done here, and I think the more that Mason Mount pushes for it, the more that it might happen. That's what I have to think as well. As well as that, we have stuff coming from the Daily Mail. So Manchester United have entered negotiations once again with Erik Rabiot. Erik Ten Hag is extensively trying to convince Rabiot to join Manchester United as a free agent. That is coming from the Daily Mail. So the Rabiot links are growing as well for Manchester United. Will be a good signing, in my opinion. Brings in some much-needed depth, some much-needed quality across the pitch. That's what we want to see. That's what we have to see for Manchester United next season. Let me just do this here real quickly so I can get it into the chat. There we go. So that is done in the chat there. We can see the latest on Adrein Rabiot coming to Manchester United. So we have entered negotiations once more with Erik Rabiot. That is Rabiot's mother and his agent. And Erik Ten Hag has been going after him as a free agent. Rajat is saying very good luck. Well, I don't know, man. I actually don't know what the woman looks like. I mean, I know her name. It seems to be quite infamous in football at the moment. I don't know. Maybe you want to Google it or something. I don't know. Let me see as well. I have heard some crazy stories about this woman. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, basically what she has done is wait. She stood outside in the car park waiting for managers and directors to ask why Rabiot is not actually playing, looking to pick fights and stuff. Whether or not that goes up Manchester United, I don't know. Irfan says new player transfer news. We do have plenty of that, man. We are looking, of course. Onana seems to be one that is moving quickly. United could be set to make a bid this week of 50 million, according to Italian sources. As well as that, we have Rabiot potentially coming to Manchester United. Contract offer definitely made between United and Rabiot. Now it's his choice whether he wants to continue at Juventus or if he wants to try something new in Manchester United. In terms of Mason Mount, we also have United offer still on the table, still sitting there. Whether it gets took, whether it gets accepted, let's find out. One thing is for certain, Chelsea have come down around £5 million on their overall ask for Mount. So whether or not that's starting to point towards progress, maybe that's going to mean United will eventually manage to get Mason Mount. Let's wait and find out. Let me see as well. Rajat says, does she force coaches to make her son play? Hope that's not true. Anyway, Ten Hag can deal. I don't think she forces. I think she just kind of complains and kind of kicks off. I don't know. I don't know the full ins and outs of it. There was stories going around last season when Rabiot potentially was joining United. Now, I think it's interesting. Rabiot, I mean, if it was not for his mother, he probably would have already been a Manchester United player because we had personal terms agreed. We had a fee agreed with Juventus. We basically had the transfer done, and all of a sudden it got pulled last minute. We ended up buying Casemiro. The rest was history. I do think that was right. Let me see as well. Rajat is saying United gets more money with the Champions League competition. And Mount has made it clear that he wants to go. Don't mean to span, man. No, you're right, man. No problem at all. Get all your thoughts down below as well. Fire away, man. Absolutely. I do think Mount does want to go. I think it's made abundantly clear. He's made very, very obvious to Chelsea. His wish is to leave Chelsea Football Club this season. That is what he wants to do. Now, whether or not it happens, it all comes down to Chelsea. United, we have agreed a personal terms with Mason Mount. We have offered him a 5-year contract worth £200,000 per week. He has accepted that. So Mount, he is happy to come. He wants to come. He only wants to join United. United have put down a very, very good offer, probably overpaying as well. So it's whether or not it gets accepted. If it does, then I think we have a good player on our hands. If not, we move on. We can invest that money elsewhere in the team. Irfan says, what is the news about number 9s? In terms of number 9, so we're talking strikers, we actually have very, very little information breaking. The only real thing we've had break today was from Fabrizio Romano, who says Rasmus Højlund is very much admired at Manchester United. The United board and Erik Ten Hag think he can be a very special player. So United, we're still looking at him. We still think that there is the talent there. We recognise the talent. Erik Ten Hag thinks that he could be a special player. Let's see what happens with that one. Big T says Rabiot should get engaged and tell mommy to stay at home. I think that's a difficult one, man. He clearly doesn't want to disappoint his mom or something. I don't know. I don't know. Like, there are stories about it. I'm sure they're out there if you guys do want to check it out. Any more thoughts, guys, get them down into the comments. And if you guys haven't already, please consider hitting the sub button. Really helps the channel grow. We are over 1,100. Your guys' support is genuinely incredible. So thank you very much for all the support. There is a new video up on the channel if you guys want to check it out after the stream. Basically me going on a 10-minute rant about takeovers, about Erik Ten Hag being let down, the board, the directors, the guys running this show. Rajat as well says we're close to getting him, but because of his wage. Yeah, I think it came down to wage restrictions and stuff as well. Any more thoughts, guys? Fire them into the comments. Let me double check and make sure no other news is breaking. So, and if there is any, I will bring it to you guys as well. Rajat says we went from Arnautovic. Yeah, we went from Arnautovic to Anthony. We went from Rabiot to Casemiro. I mean, if we want to go in again and bring in somebody better, let's be saying it. I don't know. I don't know. But let's just make this sure, and let's just hope as well United will not be going in for Frankie de Jong. We do not want this story. We do not want this saga happening again this summer. That has to be the big hope for Manchester United moving into the summer transfer window. Let's hope that there is a lot more development as well coming up in the next couple of days. That's what we want to see. That's what we need to see as well, in my opinion. But guys, I'm going to leave the stream here. So unfortunately, there will not be a stream tomorrow, but we will be back on Wednesday. I'll try to get a video up tomorrow as well. So thank you very much for watching, guys. And I will see you all on Wednesday, live and direct. Same time as always, 7:45. Thank you very much for joining in, guys. And I will see you all in the next one.